Hey there. How you doing? On our play for this week are Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, and Tekken 8, King of the Iron Fist. I think it's just Tekken 8. Are they Game of the Year contenders? We're going to talk about it. Does this rumor confirm when we will see Nintendo Switch 2? Mm. Does the Death Stranding 2 leak details confirm when we'll see a state of play? There's a lot of rumors that can confirm stuff that's happening for this year. It's interesting. And then Palworld sells 8 million people are playing Palworld. Not concurrently, but they have hit a crazy milestone with this out of nowhere success. We're going to talk about that, dude. It's just crazy. All this and more on season 8, episode 4 of Press X to Start Gamers Digest. What's up, everyone? I'm your host, DJ, aka Sexy Bad Choices, aka I am the king. I'm not even the king of Tekken. We're gonna talk about Tekken because I've had an old moment, and it's kind of alarming. It's kind of alarming. Who am I joined by?
I am Sean MF Ross.
Ooh, what does the MF stand for?
Father squared? I don't know.
Yes, it is Sean who has come back from lack of sleep to be here for us. We appreciate
Man, I'm getting up every 30 minutes.
that. Oh no.
Every 30 minutes.
If you don't know, Sean has welcomed another bundle of joy to his family, and now him and his wife are taking care of not one but two baby girls. Well, one's a toddler, one's like a baby. But yeah, that's awesome. We're happy for you. We're happy for you. All right, now let's talk about hopefully also happy news, but whatever. This is Press Start Gamers Digest, a video podcasting that's the most important gaming news from this past week into an hour-long meal just for you. I'm not even gonna say that we are live on YouTube part because it's just we're gonna get that.
Hey, if you catch us when you catch us.
Exactly.
We're like pals. You just gotta catch us.
Exactly. Yeah. We're like a limited drop, you know. You might catch us when you do, and you do. We're awesome.
We should start selling Press X to Start bricks like Supreme did.
I like that idea. Don't forget, you can support us by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and the notification bell. If you are listening, we greatly appreciate you leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the podcast services you are currently tuned in on. If you want, you can join our conversation by joining our Discord at pressxfromtwostart.com/Discord. All right. With that being said, let us jump into the news. Number 1, Tekken 8 and Like a Dragon released last week, and they both hit crazy numbers. So their Opencritic score, they both are sitting at a 90. It's expected for, I guess, on the Tekken side, for the amount of hype that the dev studio has been doing literally all last year. Like they were very positive on this product, and it came out and it was like a very, very strong fighting game. And then on the flip side of Like a Dragon, they were also priming this to be their quote unquote like Persona 5 moment. And it really hit as their Persona 5 moment. There is a quick little aside that I want to pull into this from Noisy Pixel by way of who wrote this article.
While you're pulling that up, they both got a 90 on Opencritic and on Metacritic. Like a Dragon has 89, Tekken has 90. So
okay,
these are strong games this time around.
I don't like Metacritic anymore because they don't weigh their stuff differently. Opencritic is fair for all.
I hear you. I'm just saying.
I know.
They got both roughly the same on each, so you know.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so this article from Noisy Pixel is by Joshua.
Orifice?
Or is it Orifice?
I don't know. I'm fucking with you.
I look at the ORPH as like Oprah.
It's Orpheus. It's like Morpheus.
Is it Orpheus? Okay. Oh, well, I can't read. Um, all right, so Like a Dragon Infinite Wells has mm, had highest physical pre-orders in franchise history. This is pulled from a interview from a Japanese outlet for Gamer, and they were interviewing the RGG studio devs. So yeah, like the Like a Dragon is also doing numbers, and it is awesome to see that these two games came out at the start of the year, and it's just between these two games and Prince of Persia, and even Palworld, it's like I I thought that 2024 was going to be the something of the refractory period for the
Mhm.
games industry, just
Yeah.
because 2023 had like so many bangers throughout the year, and it's just like not there's still a bunch of games that need to come out, and then maybe we'll hit
Still a
that
bunch of
reload
stuff to
button.
be announced because we only have solid dates and announcements for like the first quarter and maybe half of the second quarter year. So what's that? Up until like March, April, maybe.
Yeah, yeah,
So we have a lot to see still towards the end of the year.
that's very true as well. Yeah. So yeah, like it's just crazy to see that these two are doing so well. We're gonna talk more in depth about Tekken 8 and Like a Dragon because I've been playing Tekken 8 and Sean's been playing Like a Dragon. So
Mhm.
we'll get to that later on in the what we've been playing section.
I just want to say with this story, this is kind of it's a great feat for them, but at the same time, it Yakuza was never huge in the US until it dropped on like Game Pass and
Yep.
PlayStation Plus. And they didn't really have a real turning point for like mass consumption, I think, until the first Like a Dragon 7. So had highest physical pre-orders in franchise history. What does that even
Oh, I
mean?
see what you mean. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not like it was a Call of Duty coming out every year and they top 10 million pre-orders. This could be like half a million pre-orders, and that's still the
Mm.
highest in franchise history.
That's a good point. That is a very good point because like especially with what you're saying, it's like these games or the series became popularized when it was put on the gaming
Yeah,
services like PS
yeah.
Plus
Like
and Xbox and Game
I'm not
Pass.
saying it didn't have its fans before, but it hit critical mass once all the games were put on Game Pass and PlayStation Plus,
Exactly.
and then because 0 through 6 were all in Japanese, they were all subtitled.
Hmm.
7 was the first one I want to say to be in the English spoken language. So whatever.
Okay, okay. And then okay, so number two, quick little switch because I didn't order this.
Did you say switch?
More? Oh,
No, go ahead.
you know what? Dang.
That was a good one.
I don't
Yeah.
that was a good one. That was a good one. All right. More Death Stranding 2 details reportedly being revealed in the next 15 days. This comes from Eurogamer.net by way of Matt Wales. There's not much other than the title here. It's just okay. So according to ultra reliable leaker Bill Bilkun, who writing on Deal Labs, okay, claims Death Stranding 2 will get a fresh showing in the next 15 days, possibly during an upcoming PlayStation State of Play event, as referenced by the leaker, by the ever leaker Jeff Grubb earlier this year. That's pretty much. Oh, and then on top of that, there's going to be a iOS or mobile release of Death Stranding coming
The
soon.
original,
The
the
original,
first
yeah,
one. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, the title of this one is going to be called Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, apparently,
Mm-hmm.
which sounds very 80s like. But if anybody actually played the game, they know the quote unquote beach was a metaphysical place
Mm-hmm.
in the game. So it makes sense. It just sounds really cheesy. But we'll see what Hideo Kojima throws at us.
I didn't go live.
That's fine. Did you at least record video?
Yeah, the video's being recorded.
That's fine.
You know
Keep
what? Yeah,
going.
you're right. That's fine. Yeah, that's
Just
fine.
throw it
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah. Yep, yep, yep. You got it. All right. Number three. Actually, about the Death Stranding thing. So as in the article says, Jeff Grubb says that we're supposed to see a state of play the first week of February,
We'll see how
and
it goes.
yeah, and if this Death Stranding 2 stuff is accurate, then that actually okay, the second week of February, because there's only 2 days in that week, that first week of February. So it's the week of the 5th, essentially. Um,
Mhm.
it's looking more and more likely that we will see that. It is interesting because I think there's supposed to be a Nintendo Direct that same week. That has happened before in the past where they've both dropped a direct
News,
style
yeah.
thing. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Okay. Number three. Speaking of Nintendo, Nintendo Switch 2 reportedly has a 8-inch LCD screen. This comes from IGN
Hmm.
by way of wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Why am I so far? Wesley Ingpool. Quick question, Sean. The PlayStation Portal, is that 8-inch or 10-inch?
Sir, you never asked a man.
Oh, my apologies.
Let me see. No. I think that's 8 inch. So yeah, it's eight
Is
inch.
it?
So wow,
Okay.
that'll be very nice for a Switch. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah.
You
So,
you've held it. Pause.
no, you're not wrong.
You've held you've held mine.
It was in public too. It was
Understood.
amongst our wives. um. So yeah, like yeah, th- that the PlayStation Portal screen is a big screen, and
Mhm.
for the Switch to I guess Switch 2 to get this big screen is also cool. The downside is that it's an LCD screen, not OLED screen.
Uh, that's not really a downside. Yes, OLED is superior, but I mean, if they're already saying the price is going to cost 400, what would an OLED screen, bump that price up to?
Yeah, I
It's I don't
okay.
know.
No, I totally agree with you.
I'm just think like it's not necessary. I don't remember people complaining about the Portal screen or the original Switch screen when it first came out. Like, ah man, this would be great if it was OLED. Like it came later and it was fine, but
Yeah, yeah, no,
it's fine.
I totally agree with you. I think the reason why people are flustered about this news is because we have the OLED Switch model, and it's like
Hmm.
I look at that as like the Switch Pro, and I think they're probably going to do a Switch 2 Pro down the line. But the idea is to get this in as many consumers' hands as possible. So they're
Yeah,
doing everything, and it's like this is a typical Switch. There's a typical Nintendo play where they try to use the, I guess, basic
yeah.
parts as much as they can to drop the price down as much as they can because they know lower price means higher sales
I
for all the
mean,
kids
this
out
is
there.
this is a Switch 2 at $400. If it had an OLED screen, what would that push that up to? You're bumping in the Xbox Series X and PS5 territory. Hell, the
Exactly.
PS5 is now what, 450?
Yeah.
Like they got to pick and choose their battles to stay
Yeah.
competitive.
Exactly. Yeah. Because like the PlayStation Portal was 200.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was $200, and
Hmm.
that's an OLED screen, right?
No, it's an LCD.
It's an LCD screen. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So like, and all that thing does is just stream. So yeah, so this makes sense. This is in line with like what we have in terms of handhelds. I mean, yeah, you can point to like the Steam Deck and ROG Ally and like those other things, but I think again, this is Nintendo, and they always make sure they're always price conscious. And I think $400 for whatever the Switch 2, oh, $400 is a rumor. I That kind of works. That
I
makes
don't see it
sense.
going past that. I don't see it going past that.
Yeah, no, me neither. All right. Yeah, so we'll see. And then there was also rumors that the Switch 2 was gonna release in like the fall, like September, although those rumors turned out to be um just pulled out of thin air for marketing for that one company. So we don't know if that's gonna
Mhm.
be the case. It's possible that we might see it during like late summer, early summer. I think the Switch launched in March or something. But yeah, we might see it earlier. We don't know. We have to wait until
I'm
Nintendo.
so I'm looking at a survey, a poll on the IGN page, and people, they're asking people LCD or OLED screen, and a lot of people, 36% of people are saying LCD is fine, especially if it keeps the price down.
Mhm,
64% are saying OLED is the way forward, but they have to remember that for the same reason that Nintendo doesn't want Smash Brothers to be a competitive game, they released an underpowered Wii, they released an underpowered Switch. They're not looking for cutting edge technology. They're
exactly.
they're the they're the Toyota of the video game world. They're releasing tried and true stuff that's reliable and indestructible. They're not releasing old. I mean, sure, if adults play it, fine, but it's
Mhm,
really they want adults buying it for their kids. They're still a kid-friendly company. Like
exactly.
OLED may come further down the road, and if people want to buy it, they can buy it. But they're
No,
missing what Nintendo's aim is.
exactly. No, I agree. I agree completely with what you're saying. Like, yeah, okay. I was gonna ask put a question up about the what you would see from the Switch too, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
Number 4. Palworld devs getting unhinged threats. This comes to us from GameRant by way of wait a minute. Everything is just loading so slow. Dalton Cooper. So
Mhm.
yeah, there Palworld devs has finally not finally, they have hit the realm of getting death threats now. As I said at the start of the podcast, they have sold over 8 million units on Steam.
That is just on Steam. I want to see the player numbers for Xbox Game Pass. I want to see
Bro,
what it would have been like if they actually released it full. Cause still technically early access.
it's early access. Like
I, is it gonna explode like when they actually have a 1.0 release for Xbox and maybe a PS5? I don't know if they're gonna release a PS5, but
no.
that's crazy.
Like I think Power World is operating off of well placed luck and like
Hmm.
the fact that like it's the whole idea of, oh, this is Pokemon with guns. And but
But it's
it's
so
not
much
though.
more than that, apparently. Yeah.
Exactly. It is. But like it's the fact that they were able to operate off of that tagline and that like pulled people in. The game itself is actually good. So that was
Good enough.
enough like yeah, good enough. Yeah, yeah. It's that was enough to be like, oh, this is not just like a cash grab of a game. Like this is actually a game to play, and like it blew up online. And it's just like
Mhm.
they they have they've did the thing that a lot of devs dreamed of doing, and it's just like it's so crazy to see how successful they are. And then yes, like they are getting like unhinged threats and death threats because the Pokemon diehards are storming their beaches because
What
their
kind of
Pokemon.
neckbeard shit is that to be defending the Pokemon Company and Nintendo after the community has been claiming that Nintendo and the Pokemon Company and Game Freak has been shitting on them for the past umpteen years?
Yes,
Like
yes,
this isn't your fight. This is Nintendo's fight. They pay people for this. You don't got to do this for free.
yeah,
Um, kudos to their success because they threw all their money at this game to develop it.
yes,
However, I wish that they didn't ape and let's be honest, rip off a lot of the Pokemon designs. But I mean, if they changed it enough not to get sued, then I mean, it is what it is. It
Yeah.
it sucks
So
for whoever. I don't know who, but
it sucks for Pokemon, a $1 billion company. And it like, okay, like I understand the ramifications of um people are saying that it's plagiarisms. It's
Mhm.
not plagiarism because it's not a direct copy. And I think people were like, "Oh, the whole copyright stuff." Like I've seen a bunch of stuff that was kind of like explaining like what's happening here, and
Yeah.
like although Pokemon did say they're going to investigate the game, so that's something to be worried about because Nintendo of America is a law firm and they sue. Like that's their thing that they do. So that's kind of a we'll see what happens there. But like in terms of people saying like, oh, they're violating the copyright of Pokemon or whatever, like they're actually not. Like when the game released, I think the head of the dev company said like we've did the legal stuff to make sure we're not like going to
Yeah,
be
we've changed
hurt
just
by the
enough.
copyright. Exactly.
And
And
I'm it's interesting because you can have like let's say 10 different shooters and the main guy is all, a white scruff, brown-headed male with a scar on his
mhm,
eye.
mhm,
And they all look pretty generic and similar. I mean, these are mobs, these are monsters. They're yes, it looks very, very similar to Pokemon, but after a point with art, you can only like say with music, you can only make but so many musical notes original in a sequence before
yeah,
you start aping other things that have been created.
yeah, and
Granted, this is very obvious where they're getting their stuff from, but
exactly, yeah,
if they have changed it enough,
yeah.
yeah,
It's one of those things where it's like you can when you are heavily inspired by something,
yeah,
that will show through. And like, yes, we are saying all this knowing that there is a video of some designer pulling a model from Scarlet Violet and pulling a model from
oh
Palworld and just kind
yeah.
of like pairing them up. And it's like, oh, it's really similar. It's like, yes, it's really similar, but like that is that is sort of the beauty of Pokemon being a long running franchise that has inspired millions and millions of
It's been
artists. Like,
going since the 90s. Like at some point, somebody's gonna design something
yeah,
similar or quote unquote rip off the designs. But at the same time,
yeah,
at least the one that I saw, he showed like a dog standing. I mean,
yeah. There's like
after some
111 of these pals in Pal World, and it's just like not all of them are
granted
copying from Pokemon.
that Mewtwo and that Lucario look mighty close.
Right? They're like second cousins.
Yeah, y'all ain't changing it up enough. But
Mewtwo still
it
got
is what
them
it is,
hips,
man.
man.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah. I mean, like, and they're also the Power World devs said that there's going to be they plan to have updates and improvements on the game as as what they would do because it's in early access. So it, the early
So it
access
seems
tag I think is also the saving grace for this game too because like it
mhm.
it's basically you're jumping on a ride. Also, the game is $30. It's not a $70 game, so
uh
it's also a
low barrier
bargain
of entry.
price.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's just like again, they just did everything they needed to do, and it's like it's successful. And a lot of triple, quadruple A companies wish they had a success like this for a game like this.
It looks
Yeah,
very interesting, but I hate base building and survival games,
yeah,
like open world
yeah,
creation games. So it's like,
yeah. Like I can play them, but I can only play them for I don't
yeah,
know, maybe like a couple of days, and then it's like, all right, I this is the thing that I do here, and I'm kind of over it. So
yeah. I've seen all I need to see.
exactly, yeah. All right, um, all right. Well, before we jump into the whole Microsoft laying off 1,900 people, um,
Ugh.
hey, yeah, right. I don't, I don't know how to turn that into a positive, but subscribe, yeah, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. Can't see us our awkward faces as we're trying to make a positive here and we're about to talk about something real negative. Um, leave us a review. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever podcast service you're using. Go ahead, leave us a review. Thank you. Oh, and also we have a Discord. If you want to jump on our Discord, you can by going to pressx from2start.com/Discord. It's cool there.
We have a
We have
lot of
fun.
laughs in there.
We do a lot of laughs. All right. Now to stop the laughing. Number 5, Microsoft lays off 1,900 staff from its video game workforce. This comes to us from IGN by way of, oh, wait a minute. Wesley Inkpool. All right. So Microsoft is cutting 1,900 staff from its video game workforce, sources have told IGN. In a message to staff viewed by IGN, Xbox boss Phil Spencer said Microsoft will provide full support to those who are impacted during the transition, including severance benefits informed by
Mm,
local employment laws. He says laws because this is going to be like multi-state, like this is going to be all over
yeah.
the US, maybe globally. I'm not sure. Um, so layoffs comes following the $69 billion acquisition of Call of Duty owners Activision Blizzard and the exit of its controversial former boss, uh, Bobby Kotick. So, along with these layoffs, um, wait a minute, did I miss something? No. Along with these layoffs, Blizzard Entertainment president Mike Ybarra announces he's leaving the company as well. Ybarra is a former Xbox executive. He joined Blizzard in 2019. And then, as
Look,
well,
I
Blizzard's
left y'all for a reason. I'm not gonna leave y'all again.
right. Blizzard's chief design officer and co-founder Alan Adham is also leaving
Sure.
the developer behind. He worked on World of Warcraft, Diablo, and Overwatch.
Mm.
So, with all this news, we actually got some information about a survival game Blizzard was working on, but canceled. But before we get to that, yeah, like this is just a mess. Like it continues a trend of these giant companies just laying off people to
Well,
get their bottom line right.
with this one, at least some of the layoffs make sense. Like Jordan said, even though he's not here, I'm gonna repeat what he said.
Hmm.
Some of it's gonna be redundancy. You don't need two back offices doing the same thing.
I
You
agree.
may need an increase to handle the amount of employees that the back office is going to be administrating, but there's going to be a lot of redundancy. It sucks that they're going to be laying off this many people, and like they said, companies are continuing to deliver huge profits year over year. But
Yeah. No, like I
uh,
totally agree about the whole redundancy thing because like Activision Blizzard is a publisher. Like
mhm.
you don't like Xbox doesn't need another publisher. They're the publisher. So all those people who was doing the work of publishing, they are not gonna
Or
have
whatever,
a
yeah.
yeah, they're not gonna have a place in the Microsoft ecosystem because Microsoft got that covered already. So like that sucks, and like that's a giant arm, and that's probably a good portion of the 1,900 people. On top of that, this is another report from Dexerto. Xbox games may not get physical releases after Microsoft's latest reported layoffs. So this is talking about the same layoffs, and basically, it seems that a part of this layoffs, the where is it? The Xbox publishing arm is
Mhm.
just being let go, removed. Again, this is a rumor. This might actually not be the case, but as it is right now, this is what we're reporting on. Um, and this kind of makes sense in the era of Microsoft doubling down, tripling down on Game Pass, everything going through Game Pass as best as they can. Game Pass being the main driver of profit for Microsoft. It doesn't make sense for them to have a physical wing. I say that at the same time knowing that like physical games are still very important for middle of America, very important
Mhm.
for people globally who don't have great internet connection, and it's just like it's
Or
kind of the
just for
thing where
ownership.
or ownership, or yeah, or like game preservation. Like you're absolutely right about that. And it's like
Mhm.
this this really really sucks for the consumer if this is actually the case, and if like they are like just kind of down with or over the whole physical game thing. Um Unfortunately, when you could look at this and you can see that one of their biggest games that's going to be releasing this year is digital only in Hellblade 2. So,
Oh no. Sorry,
uh-oh,
Marcus. No, no,
what
just
happened?
knocked my mic over.
Oh.
Oh no.
um so yeah, like it really it sucks. It sucks.
So I get why they're doing this. I'm looking at a headline that says in 2022, 94% of all gaming sales were digital, and consoles had 72% digital sales. So I get it.
Mhm.
They're trying to control distribution entirely, but it just sucks for those who like want to catch a thing on sale or maybe loan out their games to their friends or
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And then we didn't talk about it here, but there was also news that the UK game retailer Game is the
Yeah.
name of their store. They're no longer doing trade-ins. So that could be a thing that we see start happening over here. We already know that like I think Best Buy is removing their physical games or physical movies. So it's like we're seeing a trend of physical discs stuff going by the wayside. And there's also another story of I think it's Best Buy. Some
Oh yeah, they got rid
retailer,
of all their physical media. They're
yeah,
getting
yeah,
rid of all the physical media. Levels.
and they basically was dumping Starfield discs and destroying them because they're not selling or they don't need them anymore, or whatever the case is. But yeah, we're definitely
People are
seeing a
gonna
trend. Go ahead.
people are gonna be crying for physical games again once these ISPs start enforcing basically download caps like data
Mm-hmm.
caps
Mm-hmm.
because the games aren't getting any smaller. Look,
No.
I'm looking at you, Call of Duty, and right now, like with mobile, you have a phone, you're gonna have a data plan, and most data
Yep.
plans are quote unquote unlimited. They just slow you down after a certain period of time.
Yeah.
Most ISPs, most home internet service providers do have a data cap. Most people just don't hit the wall. They don't use enough data to use it. But with everything, everybody trying to be a streaming service now because most people are cutting cable. If you're getting your games there too, this is good. This just ain't good.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
internet is not considered a what title something utility. What
Utility.
I'm getting
Yeah.
into the weeds
Yeah.
here. Yeah, I'm getting into the weeds
Yeah.
here.
Now, I was just about to say that like this is we're brushing up into a point where there's going to be a conversation of the internet being a utility and being something that is kind of bundled in with everything versus us having to pay for it separately. And it's like we're getting there close.
People forget all about those net neutrality protests years
Oh
back.
yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Uh, it'll come
Oh
back.
jeez.
Mark my words.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So another thing to go along with this in terms of the numbers. So this is a tweet that came from Matt Pispatella, who works for NPD, a la Circana report. Um, in the US in 2023, physical spending on software for Nintendo platforms accounted for more than 50%. For Xbox, it was
Mhm.
less than 10%. And for PlayStation, it was around 40%. So what that means is that for Xbox specifically, physical releases wasn't the marker of like a game selling for them because they were so focused on Game Pass. And
That
like,
and if you remember, the Series S accounted for the majority of
mm,
sales versus the Series X. I think it was like 60, close to 70% of Series S is sold versus
yep,
the Series X. So that number makes sense.
yeah, good point, good point. So yeah, so like we see this happening for Xbox. Don't think that this is going to be a thing that's going to happen for Nintendo and PlayStation because they are. they are not their success plan is not the same as Xbox success plan. And like we're seeing that.
Yeah, Nintendo isn't all in on the internet and digital and all that shit yet. So they still want physical control because they can still charge. Since I don't know what the Switch 2 games are gonna come on, but I know they can charge an arm and a leg for like their physical cartridges, depending on like
Yep.
the capacity of the RAM, storage, whatever is on
Yep.
there.
Like for as big as Nintendo is with
Hmm.
games and making games, Nintendo is a toy company at heart. So
Yeah,
they will operate off of nostalgia. Nostalgia is very lucrative for them. And when they can be like, oh, here is this $90 like collector edition for Zelda Breath of the
yeah.
Wild in like 2 years, like they're gonna do that. And it's gonna sell. Um so just to jump back because we didn't really talk about it, but the whole survival game, it's kind of weird to talk about because this game is not going to happen. But it was a survival game that actually no, there's a really important part. There's a reason why I brought this up.
Mm.
Um, the the survival game was going to be developed on Unreal, but the execs at Blizzard said essentially that will cost too much money. So let us use in in studio engine, which was a mobile engine, and
Mm.
that engine, yeah, and like this is supposed to be a open world survival game that was supposed to have like 100 people in the map concurrently. So of course, it's a mobile engine, and it wasn't able to keep up with the technology, so they ended up canceling it because they couldn't get it like in a workable solution. And it's it's one of
You
those
got to
things where
spend
it's just
money.
like,
You got
hey,
to spend
look,
money to make money.
I guess, but it's just like Unreal is being used by and this is something that I have said, like I think at this point, maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, just use Unreal. Just use Unreal. It is literally being supported by everybody. Everyone uses it. Like Epic made a fantastic game engine. Yes, it has its issues, but at the end of the day, you can email someone at Epic and they will take care of your problem and you can work on something else versus you
Mhm.
having to spend the dev hours, the research hours, the prototyping hours of
To
trying
reinvent
to
the wheel.
fix. Yeah, exactly. It's just like, don't do that. Just don't do that. Like, there's a ton of games that are working off of Unreal and they all look, most of them look amazing. I think Palworld was built off of Unreal. Like, just use the engine, guys. Anyways,
I mean, they have other engines. I don't know why they would use a mobile. Oh, crazy. Whatever. I
yeah,
mean, we'll
yeah,
not. We'll never know what it looked like. We weren't in that
exactly,
game.
exactly. All right. To go along with this whole physical thing, Xbox maybe getting rid of their physical arm. Number 6, Apple opens App Store to game streaming services. This comes from The Verge. Um, this is the title kind of. Oh, this is brought to us by way of. Give me a second. Andrew Webster. So yeah, like the title kind of says it all. Like if you remember a couple years ago, there was a lawsuit between Apple versus Epic about the Fortnite app being on Apple, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
This is the result of that, where Apple pretty much lost that. So now they have to open up the App Store to game streaming services. So, for example, XCloud is going to be on Apple. GeForce Now will be on Apple, and they will no longer be restricted to be used as web apps. So you can literally download the app from the Apple Store and access xCloud. I think this is fantastic because this kind of gives me a way of getting Game Pass for my phone. Um, the let's see. There is there anything? So okay, Apple said that. Okay, so this is sort of a part of this announcement. Apple said that each experience made available in an app on the App Store will be required to adhere to all App Store review guidelines and its host app will need to maintain an age rating of the highest age rated content included in the app. That part
Mm.
is very like interesting in that Game Pass or Xbox Game XCloud or whatever, that's going to have a problem because if there's any game in Game Pass that is rated what MA like
Um,
adults only or an M or
no, no, there are
whatever.
no games published that are adults only, just because no stores will carry that. So
Okay.
I think
Well, I
I
mean,
think
it's
Thrill, yeah,
yeah, well like my thing is like whatever the highest age like so I guess under AO I guess would be M, right? Or
yeah,
MMO or whatever. M. Yeah. So like
rated M, yeah.
that app is going to be rated M even though there's a bunch of child games, bunch of E for everyone games, like bunch of whatever. That doesn't matter. Like that's going to be I think that's going to be that's a way of Apple saying like, yeah, okay, we lost this, we have to do this, but like you have to like follow our rules now, or whatever.
Yeah. There are no
Again,
games that have really been announced released
yeah.
under adults only, other than like Thrill Kill back in the day with PlayStation 1 and Manhunt,
Oh, okay, okay.
which they changed to be M.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. Okay. So as pretty much the that's pretty much the highlight there. To go along with this, Epic intends to launch its game store and Fortnite on iOS to, correct the issue that Apple started years ago at this point. I mean, again, that's cool. The Epic Game Store is it's a game store. It's not really doing too hot right now because that's not their that's not Epic's MO. Like Epic makes games. So,
I mean, if they're gonna release games and have exclusivity on their app store, then I'm sure they'll be able to capitalize on that and make money.
yeah. Yeah. But yeah, like I'm really actually excited for this news because because like I have the new iPhone that apparently I could play Resident Evil, but as you know,
La
guys,
di da.
but as you know, guys, I don't play horror games, so it's like, what am I doing here? What am I doing with this? I can't even play Gundam. If I could play Gundam on this, hey man, I'll do that. Gundam natively, not remote play. I played Gundam remote play on my thing, and number seven.
Bruh.
I have nicknamed this China's effect on the industry. So,
Oh.
um, we will before I talk about the story. There was a couple weeks ago. China came out with the new guidelines for excessive gaming on not excessive gaming online. They were going to crack down on how stuff works. So this had a ripple effect. The ripple effect including Tencent, which is a Chinese-run company who has heavily invested into the game industry. They lost a lot of money in stocks after this whole thing came out. So the ripple effect from that is, I think, this. Although in this article they're saying that this is not to appease shareholders, but yeah, Tencent League of Legends developer Riot Games announces laying off 530 people. This comes to us by way
Mm.
of NBC News. There is no specific author here because they say the Associated Press. Sure. Um, so yeah, Riot Games, developer of the popular League of Legends multiplayer battle game, is joining other tech companies that having to trim their payrolls with a layoff of 11% of its staff. So that's 530 people. Um, a note to consumers said, "This isn't to appeal shareholders or to hit a quarterly earnings. It's a necessity. It's a necessity because you're going to lose a lot of money by keeping these people on.
I
So
mean, I don't know. I guess it makes sense. At the very least, it says that they'll pay them at minimum 6 months of salary, cash bonuses, and other benefits. But
yeah, and
sometimes you gotta trim the fat to keep going.
yeah, it's one of those things where I don't think it's included here, but if you are aware, Riot Games is making a fighting game that's supposed to be released this year. Apparently, that fighting game will still come out, and those devs, I believe, are safe for the time being. So that's good.
Hmm.
Um, this is just something that we see all the time. Well, we've seen all the time recently after 2020 and the whole COVID thing, and a lot of businesses grew. Tencent themselves saw that the industry was a moneymaker and they started investing into a lot of places. Um, and they're being a Chinese owned company, China with their thing kind of set them back a lot. Um,
Yeah.
to go along with this, China appears to U-turn on excessive gaming crackdown. This comes from BBC News. So China, I'm just gonna read this. The National Press and Publication Administration (NPPA) had proposed regulations limiting the amount of money and time people spent playing video games. However, on Tuesday, the draft rules were no longer on the NPPA website. China is the world's biggest online gaming market, but the industry has had frequent run-ins with the authorities. The new rules would have limited in-game purchases. Incentives such as daily login rewards for gamers would have also come under fire. While the introduction of a pop-up warning players of irrational behavior was proposed, sharing prices of Chinese gaming firms, including the world's biggest gaming company, Tencent Holdings, and its rival NetEase, jumped after the apparent U turn. So, uh, they had plummeted after the rules were first proposed in December, wiping nearly $80 billion off
Dang.
the value of the two companies. Yeah. So, essentially, what this is saying is
Money ain't
that
real.
right? Like,
Money ain't real
to
for real.
lose $8 billion in one night is just
Did you
insane.
say 8 or 80?
I'm sorry, $80 billion is
Yeah.
insane. Insane. So what this is saying is that China had dropped these new things. I mean, really and truly, like it was good. Like the whole regulation thing was good. It
Mm.
was good for consumers because it was essential. I forget what game it was, but I think we actually talked about this. But the game didn't report changing the percentage of loot boxes or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, and they didn't. They basically kept that hidden for like years. Like I think at least
Maple
2 years or
Story.
something. Maple Stories. That's what it was. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and it's just like there are a bunch of studios that are kind of operating that way and they're kind of being shady with their stuff and they're operating on the whole loot box system, which is akin to gambling, which is gambling. And it's like it's good that we put limited stuff on this. It's good that they change the daily login incentives because that stuff keeps you into the system. Like Genshin Impact, they were going to change their stuff because they also keep you in the system. The Gundam game that I play, it's a daily thing that keeps me in the system. And it's like
And yet you
these
still go
games,
back for that daily hit a crack.
hey man. At this point, I can't break away from it. It's too late. It's too late, man. Don't
Can't
save
stop
me.
the music.
But it is a thing of just like is there a way of having those regulations kind of stay, but like not have Tencent lose all this money? Like it's one of those things just like, all right, man, I guess. All right, fine. I guess nothing will change. Whatever. But
Yeah.
yes, this is what happened. And it to me, the way I read this, I could be wrong. I read this as the Riot Games, because Tencent owns Riot Games. Riot Games is making money, yes, but Tencent is ultimately the like the father, I guess, the
Yeah.
head of the household or whatever. That sounded real old by saying father. Anyways, the parent, the head parent of the household, right?
Yeah.
um, so it's like, if they losing a lot of money and they're writing the checks for Riot Games, then that money has to come back somewhere. But I don't know. We'll see. All at the end of the day, this sucks that 530 people are losing their jobs literally in 1 week. We got about what 2,430 people lost their
Mm-hmm.
jobs. It could be more that we just don't know it because they haven't reported on it. It just sucks. It just sucks. Like I believe this year, in terms of layoffs, we are, I think, halfway. We're halfway to match the amount of layoffs that happened last year, and it's like it's insane.
And we're
So
only
yeah,
in January.
exactly. All right. Well, that has been the gaming news. We hit a rough patch with the negative news, but we're gonna try to bring it back up with what we've been playing. Sean, what have you been playing?
Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. So, because of aforementioned baby, what
Mhm.
should take me 30 minutes to do in the game has taken me about 4 to 5 hours. So I haven't gotten very far in this game yet due to me having to frequently pause the game or my wife saying, I want to watch a movie. So but what I have played so far, this is like the last game, like a Dragon, we'll call it 7.
Mhm.
Just expanded upon. So there's a new live positioning component while you're fighting. So it's still turn based, but you can position yourself to do damage in different ways. Like you can knock the enemies into a wall intentionally now, or you can knock them into each other, or you can knock them into your ally and get, ally damage on the person. I haven't seen all that it has to offer yet, of course. Like I said, I haven't gotten to Hawaii. I'm still on the first island. So
Yeah.
this is more like a Dragon slash Yakuza, and you either like it or you don't. It's turn based.
Mhm.
As one of our listeners slash my cousin said, he doesn't like turn based games. But what did he say he played? He said he played some. I don't know.
He, I was actually talking to him about it yesterday because we were playing Call of Duty, and because he said like, oh, he plays Sims. I'm like, how you play Sims when you don't play turn based games? Although they're different, but it's still like kind of the same, at least in my mind.
So,
Um,
uh,
he was referring to some Japanese game as to not as some like anime
very,
game that was turn
yeah.
based as to like why he doesn't like turn based. I
I
was
think it
like,
was like
oh, like what?
I think he said it was One Piece Odyssey, maybe.
Yes, yeah. It
But
was
if
that. It
you
was that.
haven't played many turn-based games, then I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that was the game to start with. However, this
Exactly.
does have an auto battler, mode to where you can kind of set the tone of how you want them to play. So they'll play more conservative, more aggressive.
Hmm.
They'll use more magic. They'll do whatever. They'll be more adaptable. So you don't necessarily have to sit there and do the turn-based stuff. You can just set up your gear and let them have at it if you just want to watch the story. But
Right.
I mean, this game got a 90 on Metacritic and Opencritic for a reason. So
Hmm. Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Like I am. So
If
because Tekken
I,
8.
I was gonna say, let me
Okay.
interject. If you have Game Pass, I think all of them are still available to play on Game Pass. So if you're not sure about the turn-based stuff, Like a Dragon 7 is still on Game Pass, and it might be on PlayStation Plus. I don't know. If you're curious about the turn-based stuff,
I think Like a
so
Dragon
yeah.
has gone off of PlayStation Plus at this point. I think it's gone. 'Cause I think
Mm.
there was a story about it, like catch it before it goes away, and
I,
I
I know,
think it
yeah, I
yeah,
remember Xbox
posted.
posting
Yeah.
that. Hey, we still got all of them. Let me
Yeah.
see.
So yeah, Like a Dragon is going to be my February game because I believe I don't have anything for February other than Final Fantasy, and that's at the end of February. So, and that's
Yeah.
gonna probably take me the whole month to play and beat. But right now I got Tekken 8 because I was like, it's a fighting game. Let me get the fighting game first, and like play that, digest that, and then jump to Like a Dragon. Boy, um, Tekken 8 is a real good fighting game. Hey, I'm DJ. If you don't know me, I grew up on Tekken. Like Tekken is like my fighting game of choice. So I'm a little biased when it comes to that, but I also like to think that I'm
Mhm.
able to make criticisms. Um, so last year we had Street Fighter 6 and Mortal Kombat 1. I didn't play Mortal Kombat 1. I played Street Fighter 6. I thought Street Fighter 6 was a great fighting game. Um, my I like the open world story or whatever. I felt like the weak elements was the arcade story, I guess.
Mhm.
Like the story that you would play outside of the open world thing with your own created character. And I think when I look at Mortal Kombat 1, their highlight was the actual story. Although I didn't play it, a lot of stuff I heard was like the game still feels stiff because it's just the Mortal Kombat like engine and so on and so forth. And there was a lot of characters that were very overpowered and so on and so forth. So there was criticisms that was thrown at Mortal Kombat 1 that was kind of like, oh, that doesn't feel great. Playing Tekken 8, this game so far is amazing from start to finish. The story mode that they have you play is
Right, did you beat
pretty
it already?
much I mean story mode, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
It's not
it's
a
a
long
fighting
story
game.
mode.
I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like I beat the story mode in it could have been 2 nights, but I was like, no, 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 I gotta finish it. I think it was like four, 14, 15 chapters.
Mhm.
So, and there was a couple points where I was just like, I was hitting my head against the wall trying to beat these people or whatever. But the story mode, the things they pull off in the story mode is so amazing. I'm I don't want to. I guess at this point, like if you've seen Tekken, you're following Tekken, you already seen what's happening. I don't necessarily want to spoil stuff. Um, Not right now. I won't spoil anything right now. There is there is a couple of callbacks in the story mode in terms of things you're doing that is so cool. Like there was a ton of pops for me. I don't play Jin. You start or you basically play as Jin for a majority of the story. So
Mhm.
it was actually interesting because it was almost like I was playing as a new person would play Tekken, not knowing this character all too well. Like I know some of Jin's stuff, but not like fluently.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of like kind of learning and just fighting and just learning combos and so on and so forth. I The way I want to talk about it is spoiling stuff. Like I did post a big spoiler for the end on our YouTube channel. Um I want to say I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say. Okay, yeah, that game is great. Like the 90 that it got, it's well deserved. I played some of the arcade mode. The arcade mode's great. My I haven't started the arcade quest, which
Mhm.
is sort of aping the whole create a character structure from Street Fighter, but you're not going on the open world doing stuff. Like you're just in a room of arcade cabinets and you're just playing against people. There's a little bit of a story, and the idea is to like essentially compete at like an evil like event, which is really cool. Um, yeah, my criticisms for the game so far is customization. I think customization is cool. I'm hoping that it's been a long time since I played Tekken, but I'm hoping that there is ways to get more items for your characters because right now there's a good number of items, but it feels like it's all shared along the male and female body types, and it's just like, oh well, that's not it's customization, but it's not great customization.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of story mode, I I like the fact that they like, hey, you're gonna play as Jin, so at least by the time you finish this, you're gonna know how to play one character. That's
Mm.
cool. There's parts where they kind of let you pick between characters, and I think that part is cool, but it also felt like a way of um a way of saying like, all right, well, we've let you play with this character for such a long time, and what if you don't like playing as Jin? All right, well, we're gonna give you these other characters to like kind of, I guess, test out and see if you like these characters. And I think it's a cool idea, but I wish it was implemented a little differently. But it definitely does fit the whole like this is a tournament thing. So you're kind of picking the character do you want to play during the tournament, which is cool. Man, and then like Kazuya, like this game is properly Dragon Ball Z, like in the
Yeah.
best ways, like in the best ways. Oh my gosh. Anyways, that's Tekken 8. If you haven't played it, you're interested in try it. There's a demo for it, so you can jump in the demo, play some characters, see if you like the game. Oh, one thing that bothered me, and I still haven't found a fix for it. The way I play Tekken, I have my 4 trigger buttons matched to different buttons or whatever. In the new Tekken, much like much like the new Street Fighter, there is like a rage system. Well, there was a rage system in Tekken 7, but this is a little different in here. There's a rage system and like another button, and I have 2 buttons that I can't map to anything, or I have to sacrifice 2 of my like shoulder buttons. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I have no idea what I'm gonna do. It wrecked me. But yeah. The last thing is Baldur's Gate 3. I am trying to beat that game. I wanted to beat that game before I get like a dragon, because I feel like I can only do one like RPG at a time. And
Makes sense.
yeah, I'm at the like tail end of Baldur's Gate 3, and it just keeps getting better. And it's just keep throwing like more interesting and more interesting stuff. Like last night I was playing, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, all right, I gotta put this down. Like I gotta go to bed. And then like I did something, ended up talking to this god like dude, but like he wasn't Satan. He wasn't a devil, because there's devils in the game. He was just some dude, and like he was summoned back from the dead, and he was tied to this body, and he's like head of this like murder cult. And I failed a check. I tried to deceive him because I tried to get information out of him so I can kill essentially his granddaughter. Turns
Sir.
out that hey man, she had it coming. All right, she's a shapeshifter, and she's been messing me up the entire time I've been in this stupid city. I hate her. She needs to die. And she also took one of my characters. Like, you can't do that. Like, come on now. We're not, no. So I tried to deceive him. I failed to deceive the deception check. I had to fight him. This man has like 230 HP, and I was like, ain't no way I'm gonna be able to take this man down. I killed him, took his stuff, and I was like, I'm a god killer now. All right. And then I had to turn the game off. So I have to go back and like figure out what he gave me and all that
All
stuff.
right,
Yeah.
Kratos Jr.
It's how I live my life. All right, but yeah, that's it. We're talking about more games next week, of course. Yeah, that I think we've done it. We've anyways. This has been another episode of Press X Start Gamers Digest. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed making it. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and the notification bell. Don't forget to leave us a review if you are listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever podcast services you are currently tuned in on. Don't forget to enjoy your Sunday, your Monday, whatever day you're listening to us on. Just make sure that day is a good day, because you're listening to us. So it has to be a good day. There's no other options. No other options. All right. That's it. You take care. Be safe.
Peace. That's only like an hour and 5 minutes. I know for the first 5 minutes we was getting